Hi YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm very excited and nervous to start a new blog series on my channel. And what I want to talk about is a phobia that I've had since I was a child pretty much. It's becoming more well known as people open up about it and talk about it, but I have noticed that I see a lot more people talking about it who are from the UK, but not necessarily in, not UK. And I don't know why that is, but I just thought it was interesting. And so I really just wanted to start a blog for that reason. The other reason is that I've been struggling with it for so long. I want to get over it and I don't want to get over it, but I really do want to get over it. So I kind of wanted to start a blog to really open up discussion about the phobia, answer questions if anyone has any, and some other people may be experiencing the same symptoms, but you have no idea that it has a name or that maybe that you have it. And so really just to open up the dialogue, to share my story and my experience, and eventually hopefully to share the journey of my healing through it and coming out of it on the other side and not having to deal with it in the way that I have before. So as you can see from the title, the phobia is a fear of vomiting. Gosh, even then, I hate saying that word right now because it's not just a fear of that. It's a fear of, it can encompass so many different things. It's a fear of doing it. It's a fear of other people doing it. And a whole bunch of other things associated with it. If you're not really sure, there are plenty of resources online. The more I talk about it in other videos, I'll give you specific information. I just want this to be, an introduction to the blog, an introduction to the phobia. Excuse me. So, yes, emetophobia is the name of it. It does have a name, in case you've been wondering. And it's a tough phobia to deal with because it's not only being afraid of throw up, doing it and seeing it, it's hearing it. It often, affects your daily life because you start exhibiting behaviors to help yourself from becoming sick, to prevent that. You start doing behaviors to avoid being around other people that do it. So a lot of people who are emetophobics have other conditions or other phobias like, OCD, among others. That's a big one because we're trying to stay so healthy, by washing our hands excessively, cleaning excessively, different things like that. And I'll do a video on separate behaviors so that you can see, maybe that might be something that you struggled with and you had no idea that it was related to that. But I'll share a little bit of my story. I really don't remember how long ago it began. I can just remember that I've been thinking about it and dealing with it for as long as I can remember. I have always been a really healthy person. I don't really get sick that often. Even when I was a kid, I didn't get sick that often. I probably remember getting sick and throwing up maybe 2 or 3 times. And that's, not counting baby spit up, obviously, but like legit throwing up. So I didn't do it that often. And when I did, it was usually more kind of violent / projectile. I just don't like it at all. But I have been afraid of it probably, I think the earliest I can remember would be 7th grade. And that's actually the last time that I've thrown up. It has been well over 20 years since I've last thrown up, which is another fact that you'll find about other emetophobics is that they usually can count on one hand how many times they've thrown up. And you can usually remember the last time that you did. And pretty much after that, you've been doing everything within your own willpower to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the thing about it that I think a lot of people don't understand is it's more than just, not liking it, because no one actually likes to throw up. Let's be honest. It's an unpleasant experience, whether you're afraid of it or not. But it's so much more than that. For me personally, I hear a lot of people say, if I see someone else do it, it makes me do it as well. And for me, it's not that. It's a literal fear response. I remember the last time I was in the same house with someone who was throwing up. And my immediate response is to, plug my ears and close my eyes and, just kind of rock or run. It's not a fight or flight. It's just flight. Get out of there. Try not to hear it. Try not to be near it as quickly as possible. My hands get sweaty. They may shake a little bit. My heart starts beating a little faster. It is a literal fear response. And, it's not pleasant. Being afraid is not pleasant. The measures that I go through and, other people who deal with it on a deeper level than I do is not fun. You think about it all the time, even when you're trying not to. You're always gauging yourself. How am I feeling? Am I going to throw up? You heard someone else is sick. Oh my gosh, am I going to catch it? How do I avoid catching it? And this is a daily process. Today I started by keeping tally of different things. So I could really kind of gauge how bad it is for me. So I've been keeping tally marks on, how often I thought about doing it or visualizing it itself, how often or how many times I've done a behavior to try and prevent getting sick because I'm in fear of it. What else did I do? Keeping track of how many times I've thought about germs or bacteria, and how many times I felt anxious. And just on day one, the tally marks are kind of up there. I think the section I had the most tally marks on were probably taking preventative measures or exhibiting behaviors, to try and prevent that. For me, a lot of it is, washing my hands. I don't wash them excessively, but I wash them before I eat. It doesn't matter if I'm only going to be using a fork. I always wash my hands. I don't put anything in my mouth unless I've washed my hands. Y'all, it is serious. I have eaten French fries or chips or something with a napkin or with a fork or with a spoon if I couldn't get to a place to wash my hands. So lots of little things like that. And they weren't even that severe today. So, I mean, so I'm starting to kind of see just from day one how many it is. I only felt anxious once or twice today, but the period of anxiety was about an hour or so. We had a girl at my job in my training class who left early last week with a stomach bug, and she's back today and doing fine. I think she offered me a piece of candy, and I politely had to give it back, but the entire time I was just thinking, I touched the candy, trying not to touch her face. Tiara, just, keep your hands away from it. And I just had this urge to go and wash my hands and not touch anything else. But when I get back to the room, I'm like, there are other things you've already touched. So that kind of anxiety, that just kept going on in my brain for about an hour, hour and a half. I don't really know how to make that stop other than distracting myself. So you know, we were reviewing for a test that we're going to be taking tomorrow. So that kind of helped take my mind off of it. But lots of little things like that. But anyway, like I said, I don't want this first video to be too long, but I just wanted to do an introduction, say a few things about how I deal with it. Maybe you might recognize some of the things that I mentioned today. But in the next video, I'm going to come out with some specifics from research on different behaviors, different patterns, ways to recognize if, you know, whether or not this might be something that you're struggling with. And, you know, I really hope that you feel comfortable commenting and asking questions, and that we can be in this together, because, you know, it's one of the most difficult phobias to overcome, because we often deal with so many other things besides just the fear of it. And so, you know, I'd love to create a support system, you know, for other people who feel alone or who feel scared or really want to start tackling it and working through it. So if you have any questions or you have any specific video topics that you'd like me to do, just let me know. And I'd love to do it. I can't wait to do the next video and just really see how this journey is going to unfold. So thanks for watching, and I shall return soon. Bye.